Okay, so for this week's lesson, we'd like you to do an experiment at home and measure the average speed of some different objects down a ramp. Now, depending on what you've got and space and equipment, etc., you're going to have to adapt this as suits you. What I've got, or what I'm going to do, I've got a small piece of plywood or a bit of a plank. You could use a book or whatever, and I'm sticking that on top of some textbooks, and I'm using that to make my ramp so it's not too steep. I'm going to have some different objects I'm going to roll down it. So I've got a tennis ball, I've got a coin. I'm going to try and stand on its edge. That's an appalling picture of a coin. There we go, 10p. I've got a pencil that's nice and round. I'm going to roll down the slope. I'm going to find a couple other things. Ideally, you want about 5 different objects would be really good. You can do more. If you can't quite find 5, 3 or 4 would also be fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place one of my objects on the top of the ramp. Stick the ball there. I'm going to have my hand on it ready to hold it in place. And then I'm going to start the timer. I'm going to use the timer on my iPad to do this. And I'm going to let go of the object when I start the timer. The object's going to roll down the ramp, and when it drops off the bottom, I'm going to stop the timer. So I'm going to know how long it took for the object to roll down the slope. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat that 3 times, just in case one of the results is a bit weird. And then I'm going to do the same thing again for all the other different objects. So the reason I'm doing all that is because what I want to do is work out the average speed of the object down the slope and compare the different objects. The reason it's average speed is because they'll start off slow at the top and get faster as they go along the bottom. But as long as we always have the same slope, then it's a fair comparison between the 3. In terms of recording the results, then the thing we're changing, which is called the independent variable, always goes first in the results table. So that would be the object. So I put here, for example, if I use my tennis ball, my pencil, etc. And then we would have the thing we measure, which is the dependent variable. And that's how long it took. But we're going to do that 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to record the average of those 3 results. So let's say, for example, my tennis ball took 1.2 seconds. Whoops, put seconds in the heading there. Then it took 1.8, and then it took 1.4. Just in case, to work out the average, I would do 1.2 plus 1.8 plus 1.4. And because I've done 3 readings, I'll divide the whole thing by 3. And that would give an answer on my calculator that says 1.46, and it's got the little dot recurring. What I'd like you to do is do everything to just 1 decimal place, so I'd round that, so that would equal 1.5, and that's what I would put in there. And then obviously I'd do the same thing for the pencil, get my 3 results of the pencil, work out the average for the pencil, and for my other objects as well. Now, that's all well and good, but all I've done there is get the time it takes the objects to get down. What I haven't done is work out their average speeds. So we come back to our equation. Average speed is equal to the distance travelled divided by how long it took. So what I need to know is I need to know the distance. In other words, I need to know how long my ramp is. So once I know that, I can then take that length of the ramp, which will be the same every time, divide that by my average time. So it's the average time I'm using in this equation to give me the average speed. And then that will be my last column on here, on the table, average speed, so I'd work out, and I'd work out for each one of my objects. So, you can record that how you wish. You can use stylus and notepad type options. You can type it up in Word. You can do it on paper and just take a picture of it. That's absolutely fine. So do your experiments. I would like, please, your table of results, and you need to upload that. Also, take a video clip of at least one of your objects going down the ramp, not all of them, just one of them, so we can see your setup. Upload that as well. If you wanted an extension task, if you finished all of that, what you can do is choose one of the objects. I know, I'll just go with that one, for example. And what you can do instead of comparing different objects, just choose one object, but then change the height of the ramp. So stack more books under it and change the slope of the ramp and see what effect that has. So your table of results, the thing you're changing would be the height of the ramp instead. So that would be instead of object. You still record 3 different times, you still record an average, and you still record an average speed. So if you wanted an extension task, you could do that experiment as well and also send in those results. Okay, hope that has all made sense. Enjoy, and I look forward to seeing your work.